Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our combined work session and regular meeting on February the 7th. At this time, I'd like for you all to bow your heads for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. May we stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Fear, have some special recognition.
Yes, Mr. Turner, we do have special recognition. Good evening. Tonight we have several students here for recognition for their recent accomplishments at the Griffin-Risa Regional Literacy Days Festival and the Griffin-Risa Regional Science Fair. Students in these competitions are both school level and school system level winners who then represented our district at Griffin-Risa. They competed against district winners from Butts, Fayette, Henry, Lamar, Pike, Spalding, and Upson school systems. First, we'll recognize all of our winners at the Griffin-Risa Regional Literacy Days Festival. Students, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate of recognition from School Board Chairman, Mr. Almond Turner. Just get everybody squared away. Okay. Are all the kids who need to be recognized up here? We're good? Okay. In the poetry recitation contests, competitors were judged on a number of criteria, including stage presence, articulation, interpretation, memory and accuracy, and the difficulty of the piece. Rosa Abraham is a student at West Newton Elementary School. Come on up, Rosa. And she won third place in the third grade poetry recitation contest with her performance of Dream Beast. Congratulations, Rosa.
Got to get out a little lower on us. Hold that one for a while.
Thank you, Rosa. Elena Jackson. She's not. There she is. Yay. Come on up, Elena. Elena attends Herd Mixon Elementary School, and she won third place in the fourth grade poetry recitation competition with her performance of Making Sarah Cry. Congratulations, Elena. Julian Crockett. Come on forward, Julian. Julian is a student at Liberty Middle School, and he won second place in the 8th grade recitation contest with his performance of Wolves. Congratulations, Julian. We had one other poetry recitation contest winner, Amaya Williams from the Newton County Theme School, but unfortunately she could not be here this evening. She won second place honors in the 5th grade poetry recitation contest with her performance of I Give Up. Congratulations to Amaya Williams. Newton County School System students also earned several awards in the Ready Writing Competition, during which students are given a writing prompt and 1 hour to complete an essay. Students, please come forward when I call your name. Megan McElhaney. Megan attends Newton County Theme School, and she won second place in the 3rd grade Ready Writing Competition. Congratulations, Megan. Jamoni, is that Jamani? So I want to make sure I get that right. Jamani Parker, who can come forward, Jamani, who is a student who attends Newton County Theme School, and she won first place in the 6th grade Ready Writing Contest. Congratulations, Jamani. Morgan Fannin. Morgan attends the Newton County Theme School, and she earned third place in the 7th grade Ready Writing competition. She was unable to attend this evening, so we will be sure to mail her her certificate. Congratulations to Morgan. Cheyenne Washington. Cheyenne is from the Newton County Theme School, and she brought home top honors in the 8th grade Ready Writing contest. Congratulations, Cheyenne. In addition to the poetry recitation and Ready Writing contest, Newton County School System's drama team from Porterdale Elementary School won second place in the elementary division with their performance of Sleeping Ugly. Team members, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate from Mr. Turner. Dylan Lawler. In an effort to ensure that I pronounce everyone's names correctly, is it Jarrell or Gerald? Jarrell, okay. Jarrell Miller, congratulations. Alasia Phillips, congratulations, Alasia. Janiyah Wallace. Congratulations, Janiyah. Christopher Roll. Congratulations, Christopher. So if you were a participant in the Griffin Reese's Literacy Day competition, if you would all just stand one more time, if you were... That's all of you guys that I just called out so that we can recognize you collectively. Congratulations for your hard work. Great job. You may be seated. Good job. Next, we'll recognize all of our first place winners at the Griffin Risa Regional Science Fair. They, too, are school level and district level winners who also competed with students from Butts, Fayette, Henry, Lamar, Pike, Spalding, and Upson school systems. This year, every single Newton County school system competitor brought home a first, second, or third place award from the Regional Science Fair. In fact, we had so many award winners at the Griffin Risa Regional Science Fair that it will take us 3 school board meetings to recognize all of them. And that's a great problem to have. Tonight, we are recognizing all of the first place winners at the Regional Science Fair. Each of these students will now represent our school system at the Georgia Science and Engineering Fair at the University of Georgia at the end of March. Students, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate from Mr. Turner. Petra, how do you say your last name, Petra? Ayton. Petra Ayton, come forward. Petra is a 7th grader at Indian Creek Middle School, and she won first place in the physical science category with her project, Keeping Warm. Petra also won the Office of Naval Research United States Navy and Marine Corps Award and the Broadcom Masters Award for her project. The Broadcom Masters Awards is the highest award given to middle school students at the regional competition, and all winners of that award are invited to compete in the Broadcom Masters competition in Washington, D.C. So congratulations, Ms. Petra. David, is it Burke? David Burke, please come forward. David attends Liberty Middle School, and he and his science fair partner, Russell Danilchek, who could not attend this evening, won first place in the physical science category for their project, Magnets and Motors. David and Russell, who are both in 8th grade, also won the Broadcom Masters Award for their project. Congratulations to David and Russell. Is it Farrell? Madeline Farrell and Sarah Schleter. Come forward, please. Madeline and Sarah are freshmen at Eastside High School, and they won first place in the biological science category with their project, Examining the Efficacy of the Bluetooth Tandem Communication Type 1 Diabetes. Congratulations to Madeline and Sarah. Join me in a round of applause. Seth Carpenter, and is it Najee? Najee Tillman, please come forward. Seth is an 11th grade student at Alcovey High School, and Najee is here. Seth is not here. Najee is here. And so let's see, where are we in this? Najee, there we go, is an 11th grade student at Newton High School and NCCA STEM Institute. And they won first place in the biological science category with their project, Do You Recall? Seth could not attend this evening, so we will be sure to mail his certificate. And he is an 11th grade student at Alcovey High School and NCCA STEM Institute. So congratulations to Seth and Najee. Elizabeth Cooper. Elizabeth is a senior at Eastside High School and NCCA, Newton College and Career Academy STEM Institute, and she won first place in the biological science category with her project, Iridology, What Can Your Eyes Tell You? Congratulations to Elizabeth. Braxton Buff. Braxton is a freshman at Eastside High School, and he won first place in the biological science category with his project, How Diction and Syntax Can Influence Behavioral Outcomes. Congratulations, Braxton. And once again, if you were a science fair competitor winner, if you would stand just one more time, I'd like to recognize the team, the group, one more time. Let's congratulate our regional science fair winners. We are so very proud of all of you and the accomplishments that we have reviewed this evening. It certainly speaks volumes about your commitment to your education and to your progress. So thank you all, students, for your hard work and dedication. That concludes our recognition.
Thank you, Ms. Ferry. Would all the parents of these students please stand, please? Okay, we as the Board of Education would like to give you all a sincere thanks for your support in helping these children grow up to be the best that they can be and make contributions to our society. We appreciate it very much, and we'd like to give you all a hand.
Yes.
Okay, at this point of our meeting, those of you who have some other plans that you'd like to leave and take care of at this time would be a good time to leave.
Yeah. Why is it so hot? I'm hot.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ferry, do we have any public participation?
Ms. Guthrie, do we have any public participation? No.
Okay. Having none, we'll move to, I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
So move.
I have a motion by Ms. Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions or discussion? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. I need a motion to approve the minutes, please.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Ms. Baker. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Superintendent's report.
Superintendent's reports, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Madam Superintendent. We have a presentation this evening, so I'm just gonna give a few highlights from the operations report. The first thing The rate of expenditures through January 31st is within budget and slightly better than last year, with 57.45% of funds expended and 58.33% of the fiscal year complete. The special purpose local option sales tax for distribution for December was $1 million, which is an increase of $141,000 from last month's collection. The average for the first 23 months of SPLOST 4 collections is about $909,000. The monthly average for SPLOST 3 was $881,000. Item 3, the title ad valorem tax collection for November was about $36,000. Facilities. In January, the facilities department made strides in developing and implementing preventive maintenance programs for critical building systems, including roofs and HVAC systems. This is one component of a long-term proactive approach aimed at increasing the efficiency of facilities operations. 2 items to bring to your attention under pupil transportation. In January, our school buses traveled over 308,000 miles. Also in January, the average per gallon cost for diesel fuel purchase was about $2.18. School nutrition, item 1, in January, over 137,000, almost 138,000 breakfast meals were served. That's an average breakfast participation rate for the month for 41%. In January, 270,000 lunches were served, and that's a participation rate for the month about 77%. One last thing under the operations report to bring out, school nutrition, item 5. The SMP, or school nutrition program, began 2017 by featuring fresh local produce items on the menu at all grade levels. This month's featured item was Georgia-grown butternut squash. This is SMP's second year to feature roasted butternut squash sprinkled with cinnamon and brown sugar as a delicious wintertime offering, and it is quickly becoming a student favorite. That concludes the operations report for January.
Thank you.
For February, but for January as well.
Thank you, Dr. Lockhart. Could I get a motion to approve items on Operation A, please?
So move.
Motion by Ms. Baker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bailey. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. Item B.
Yes, sir. On the Curriculum Instruction and Technology CIT report, just a few items to bring to your attention. Number 1, Friday, January 27th, our science fair winners participating in the Griffin-Risa Regional Science and Engineering Fairs you just saw through our student recognition. The fair is a regional competition among middle and high school students in the Griffin-Risa region. The first place projects in the fair will compete at the Georgia Science and Engineering Fair in Athens, Georgia on March 30th and on April 1st. A list of all award winners is included at the end of this report. And again, just really proud of all of our students and teachers and schools with the work they're doing there. Item 5, January 24th, our special education department hosted a come-together parent workshop targeted towards parents and families of students with special needs within the Newton County school system. Allison Stevenson, Fayette County parent mentor, was the featured speaker for the event, discussing various assistance programs offered through Medicaid. Diane Johnson, our special education parent mentor, coordinated the event. The objective of the workshop was to explain the now and comp waivers, HIP, and general information regarding applying for Medicaid benefits. In addition, the workshop gave participants the opportunity to ask questions to one another about experiences in the application process and discuss related concerns. Outcomes for the workshop included better understanding of requirements for obtaining Medicaid benefits and various programs that can accompany this assistance. The event was well attended with over 80 parents, students, and community members present. And again, just showing that we're trying to do everything we can to connect our community as much as possible. Page 3, item 11, 2 VEX IQ robotics tournaments, one for elementary and one middle school, were held at the Newton County on January 21st. 40 elementary schools and 35 middle schools from across Georgia participated in the event. 55 of the 75 teams were from Newton County. Winners from NCSS include the Mansfield Elementary team, as a matter of fact, 2 Mansfield Elementary teams, the Newton County Theme School team, they got the Middle School Design Award, Liberty Middle School team for the Teamwork Champion Award, The Newton County Theme School for the Middle School Judges Award. Newton County School System currently has 4 elementary teams and 5 middle school teams qualify for the state robotics tournament and expects several more teams to qualify for that event in February. Teams attending the state tournament will be competing for spots at the World Championships held in April. Item 12, the Alcovey High School VEX robotics team 265 won the design award at the January tournament at West Forsyth High School. That award qualifies the team to compete in the VEX High School state finals. Last thing for CIT, item 13, the CTSOs, Career Technical Student Organizations, are entering their competition season and are beginning to compete in regional competition. So again, we're wishing them a lot of success. We have 19 healthcare science students participating. We have about 35 students advancing in FBLA and about 8 marketing students who will also compete in the DECA competition. So again, just really proud of all the work of our students and our faculty, staff, and our schools. That concludes the CIT report. And Mr. Chairman, if I may, I can go ahead and provide you with the enrollment report as you get ready to take action.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, this is dated February 1st, 2017. At that time, we had 19,737 students. This same time last year, 19,772 students with a difference of 35 students. And that concludes the CIT and enrollment reports. And following you taking action there, we do have a presentation for you this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Lockhart. We need a motion to approve items 1 and 2 under Section B.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bailey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Coggins. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, item 3, Dr. Lockhart.
Thank you, sir. Item 3, presentation. Members of the board, Superintendent Fear, we have a presentation in regarding alternative school programming, and I'd like to present to you Ms. Amy Cumming, the Student Services Coordinator.
Good evening, and as Dr. Lockhart said, I am Amy Cumming. I'm Coordinator of Student Services here. And while the screen is coming down, just to give you a little background about myself, I was a classroom teacher for 20 years. 13 of those years was spent in middle school, 7 of those years in elementary school. I then became assistant principal at Cousins for 4 years, where I dealt with discipline for 2 of those years, and then curriculum the other 2 years. And so since I've come to the Board of Education, I've worked in student services where I've had the privilege of working with our social workers and with our counselors. And this particular role has also given me the opportunity to be a PBIS coordinator. When I was at Cousins, I was a PBIS administrator, a PBIS coach, so I've worked in the school. I've now worked at the district level with PBIS, and the state and the national level as well with PBIS. My role here with PBIS also gives me a seat with Project Aware at our local Project Aware meetings and at the state meetings. So with all this being said, I just want to give you a little background about what's brought us to writing this plan. As a teacher, I saw the alternative student one way. As an administrator, I saw that student another way, but I also got to see a glimpse into that child's family, into what goes on at home. You don't see that piece when you're the teacher. And again, when you're the administrator, you're thinking you're doing the best thing, you're trying to do the best thing for the child. Regular school is not working, they're causing problems, and then you have those children who break the rules and there's no option. They have to go to alternative school. And so that brings us to now, it brings me to my role here. And here I've been able to sit with parents and students of our alternative students who attend Ombudsman, and they've come to the end, and there's really nowhere else for them to go. Ombudsman has done a fabulous job providing for us what we needed at the time as a district to give them a place for an education. And so, the children would go there, they sit down, they take their classes, that's what they're there for. They finish their time, they go back to school. So as we go through the plan, I'm going to talk a little bit about those students and what happens when they're in alternative school and when they go back to the regular school. And I would just hope that you would feel the passion that we've put into this plan. This plan didn't come overnight. In fact, this plan came before even Ms. Fury knew that we were working on this. And it's just been a culmination of conversations with other educators about our alternative student. When we get to a point and you talk about, I wish I could have done this, and it's too late. And, every conversation would always end with, well, if I could. Well, so we've taken those things and we've put them into a plan that we think will benefit the students of Newton County, but not only just the students, but the community as a whole. Because once these children have their education plus the resources they need to be successful, then, it changes our community also. So that's where this plan comes from. The only thing I ask is as we go through it, if you could, just put out of your mind alternative school. This is more of an alternative program. So it's going to be an extension of our secondary schools. We want to do away with the thought of alternative school. And also, it is for those children who get expelled and those children who just struggle at the regular school. But it can also be for students who come to us from other districts who may be in a situation where it's a block schedule. They've already completed certain classes. They come to us, and we're not a block schedule system, so really they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have the time to finish an entire class, to start a new class, so we have to get creative. And so with that, that kind of brings us to where we are. So why now? Ombudsman has done a good job for us. They provided us an opportunity to give our students who were expelled from school a place to go. So why now? So to answer that, we have become a strategic waiver district, as you know, which gives us some leeway in how we do things, which gives us some creativity. Virtual learning has come a long ways. Online self-paced learning has come a long ways in these 6 years that we've been using Ombudsman. We have lots of different options that we can offer our students. And with the creation of the PBIS in our schools, with Project Aware, we have so many resources now that we didn't have 6 years ago that we can offer these students as well. And because they're separate from us now, they're not a part of those kinds of programs. And we want to bring them in and make that difference for them that we're doing for our other students. So that's kind of where we are. So I will go through this, and if you have questions, if you want to stop me, I'll stop, or if you want to wait to the end, either way is fine with me. It doesn't matter. Just to give you some background about Ombudsman, if you're not familiar with the platform, they have 3 sessions a day. The morning session is for our middle school students, and they go from 8 to 12. Then the high school students come in from 12 to 3. That's one session. And then the next group comes in from 3 to 6. Over the 6 years, Ombudsman has served 1,209 different students. 336 of those students have returned to Ombudsman at least once. Some of them went there several times. And I'm going to talk about that transition piece and why that's important now too. The average yearly enrollment over the 6 years was 170 students. So you have to keep in mind it was never 170 students at a time. At the beginning of the year, you may have as few as 25 students. Right now, we're still kind of at the beginning of a semester. They've got about 75 students, about 50 high school students and 25 middle school students. And so kids are coming and going all the time. They're placed there, they withdraw. We have different reasons why kids come in, and we do place them there through placement. So there are different reasons why they come and go, so the number is always fluctuating on any given day. But for the most part, over a course of the year, they will have they would have had 170 different students come through there. If you look at, I've given you the ethnicity and the gender ratios for the students that attend Ombudsman, and you can see that predominantly it's a black male population. And we know that, we're losing our black males at an alarming rate. And there are so many things that we could do to help them as well. That now is the time. There's no better time, and time is actually crucial. So when you look up at the makeup of the current ombudsman, you can see the diversity that we have, but it's not as large as it probably should be. Okay, I want to walk you through very quickly just traditionally, historically, what alternative school has been like in Newton County. Many of you will remember Sharp Learning Center, and that was just a traditional school. And that's the way everybody did alternative school then. It was just basically a school with normal class schedules. You changed classes on bells. You had all that transition. The students got basic academic classes. They didn't have as many electives as they would have had at their high school. The discipline format was authoritative. It was this the way it's going to be. At the end of our Sharp Learning Center, we did bring in PBIS through the juvenile justice here in Newton County, and there was some success with that, but it came a little late. And as you know, Sharp Learning Center was very expensive to run, and that was one of the reasons we moved to Ombudsman when we did, was mainly because of the expense, and we just weren't seeing the success that we needed as well. Sharp Learning did have an on-site counselor to work with the students. So currently, Ombudsman, it is a flexible scheduling. The high school kids have 2 choices of times that they can be assigned to. They go in, they work at their computer. If they're middle school, they work for 4 hours. If they're high school, they work for 3 hours. They do have instructors that are there to assist them, but there's no traditional learning. There's no traditional interventions or extra help given to the students. There's not really a set discipline plan at Ombudsman. You just come in, you sit there, you do your work, and if you don't, then they have the option of putting you out. And they do work with the students. It's not that abrupt, but there's not any kind of plan to work with the students to help rehabilitate the students. Ombudsman does provide a social worker. That social worker comes on kind of a rotating basis. That person is not there all the time. And in addition to the money that we pay Ombudsman, we also fund a counselor for them. So the counselor that does all the scheduling, all the grading, we provide that under our own budget. So she is employed by Newton County Schools. Okay, so moving into the plan that we have come up with, and I just want to say up front, it's going to sound fabulous, and it is fabulous, and I hope that it's going to be something great for our system. But at no point in time do we ever take away from the fact that some of these students have been placed there because they have broken rules. It's not going to be the fun place to go. It's not like that. There are going to be very, very high expectations for these students. So with that being said, this new program will have enhanced flexible scheduling. We will have still the middle school session that will go for 4 hours. We will offer 3 blocks of time that our high schoolers can come. During those 2 times, they'll be scheduled just like normal, kind of like they do now. They'll be scheduled a time to go to appear at the school. But one thing we'll do differently as far as scheduling is we'll open earlier and close later. One of the complaints that we get from parents is, yes, I understand my child has to go to alternative school, but I have to go to work. My high schooler has to go to school in the middle of the day. I have no way to get them there. So this program will allow them to come earlier in the morning or to come later at night. And with the staff that we have, we will stagger start and end times to work that out. They'll also have that 3rd block will be kind of a sign-up time where they can come in for extra help, where they can earn extra hours, where they can earn extra points towards we'll have a whole, and I'll explain that in a second when I talk about PBIS, but it'll be a flexible time for them. It'll be a time for them to show some initiative that, I need to catch this up, I need to do this, or I know I can't do it on this day, so let me come and do it this day. Basically, it's about teaching them some responsibility as well, while giving them a little bit of choice in what they do. One of the big pieces that's going to make this program different than any other program is every child that comes into the center, into the program, will have an individualized learning plan. As you know, special needs students have IEPs. They have their own individualized learning plans. For us, every student will have one. When they come in, we will look at where they are, what kind of credits they have, where are they towards graduation. They will be assessed in reading and math, because many of our students that end up in alternative school are already behind. They struggle with reading and math. And so currently, they go to alternative school, but there's not a program in place to help them with their reading and their math. So that will be a huge piece. We'll also be able to work with Project Aware and have universal screening. So every student will have a mental health universal screening, which looks for certain triggers. And with that, then we'll be able to place them with services that they may need through the mental health community here in Newton County. And I'll talk about this part in just a second, but just to give you a little insight to this, we'll also be working with Viewpoint Health and the APEX project, which is a federally granted program, and we will have clinicians in the building that will work with our students, but the program that we'll be using with them will actually go into the homes. Much of their work will be done in the homes with the families. That is something that is, unprecedented. We haven't ever been able to do that. Another piece that we'll be able to offer is credit recovery. You'd be amazed at how many students come into alternative education who may be 11th graders by age and have 2 or 3 credits. So our goal is to get them into the classes that they need and to begin some credit recovery. We feel like once the students feel a level of success, once they can see that I can do this and there's a plan, then they will work towards that. But for so many of them, they've just been put there. They don't have any idea what it takes to graduate. They don't have any idea what they need. So part of their individualized plan will be weekly goal setting. They will have goals that they will have to meet every single week. And we'll have, one of our positions is a person who will handle all of the data. All of the staff members will be well versed on every single kid. At any moment, you could walk into the center and say, tell me about Amy. Where is she? What is she doing? And they should be able to tell you. So everybody will be involved with every single student. And it's basically that whole premise of it takes a village. And so with that being said, our goal is that the children feel that level of success and they're going to want to do. And I believe wholeheartedly that works. I've seen it work. And on a large scale, when you see others being successful, then you too want to be successful. So I feel like it's going to be a place where our students can prosper. One thing that we will use is restorative discipline, and that is where they will have to take responsibility for what they've done. So many of these children come in and nothing is their fault. They are not there because of something they did, it's something someone else did. And that trickles down to home as well. A lot of times the parents don't see that it was their fault. So what we want to do is teach the children that this is what happened, and they have to self-check. What did I do? What kind of harm did that cause? What did I do to someone, and how can I fix it? But also at the same time, you have a consequence, and you have to complete your consequence. You have to serve whatever consequence that is. PBIS will be a huge part of this program. It will be very points driven. The students will have the opportunities to earn things. Speakers will come in, so they'll have to be able to earn the right to be able to see these speakers. We'll, be able to go places eventually once we're all where we need to be and things are going well. They will be able to, kind of like a school store type thing, they'll be able to use their points for different things. They could use their points for, to have lunch brought to them, or, we provide them a day out or something, maybe a day off, any kind of thing that motivates that child. So that PBI is going to be a huge part of what we do. There will be a very specific dress code. We have not nailed down exactly what that will be, but this is not going to be a place where they walk in, just however. It's going to be basically what I'd like for you to think about is, yes, they're coming in to go to school, but also we're getting them ready for life. A lot of what we do will involve social skill training, soft skill training, getting them ready to be great employees or getting them ready to go to college, things that they're not picking up at home. They're not picking up around the people that they're with. So, when I talk about dress code, there will be very high expectations for even how they come to us. Within the program, we will have a behavior interventionist. This person will be a specialist in dealing with behaviors and creating plans to help manage those behaviors. Going home is not really going to be an option unless you've really broken a major rule. Our goal is to keep them at school. A lot of these kids, they want to go home. That's the end goal. The behavior interventionist will help that a lot. We will be able to work with Project Aware, Apex, like I mentioned, the Viewpoint Health. And of course, now we'll have student support services here at the county office that will be involved in everything. There won't be any kind of surprises that come out that need to be dealt with. Everybody will be involved. So we'll be able to offer support that we haven't ever been able to offer before. A big piece will be community service projects. These children need to get out into the community and recognize and realize that this is their home. They need to be a part of things here. We want them to be proud of where they live, so we want to get them involved in as many things outside of school as we can. And again, for a lot of the children, they've never been exposed to anything other than home and school. For a lot of them, church isn't even a part of what they do, because a lot of kids can pick up a lot of social skills at church, but a lot of these kids don't have that either. So we want to expose them to different things, to different groups, to teach them those life skills to help them be successful. We will partner with the CTAE program here in helping them do some work-based learning classes. That's something that they haven't ever been able to do, so they'll still be able to go to school, get their classes, but then they'll have that expectation also of getting a job, and we'll help get them placed in jobs. And again, everything they do at their job will be reflected back at the program. For those students that are more advanced, and a lot of the kids that end up at alternative school they've made a bad mistake, and a lot of them are AP students. They're taking classes at the Career Academy. So for those students, we will be able to offer them the classes that they have had, that they are currently taking, because when they go to Ombudsman now, the CTAE classes, those things don't transfer over to Ombudsman, the AP classes, so we have to get creative on our end. So really right now we do a lot of work on our side in getting the children the classes. So really, yes, we're paying Ombudsman, but right now for a lot of the kids we are having to manage their classes for them because they just don't offer those classes at Ombudsman. So we will partner with Georgia Piedmont Technical in getting the students some skill-based training. They'll come to us. We can also do some Move On When Ready for our kids who are ready for that. There are schools, colleges, junior colleges that will also come to us to offer some classes, some through virtual, some online, and some actual teachers will come to the center. And then a big piece is going to be that workforce training. We want to have these children, when they leave us, ready to either go to college or go to work and not know what they're going to do. And so that brings us to the next piece, which is a transition plan. So let's say that you're a middle school student and you've been placed at the alternative program. The goal is, of course, to get you back to your home school, and we would like to get them back. What doesn't happen now, there's no transition. You finish, you go back to school, and good luck, hope all goes well. So we will work with the students weeks before it's time for them to transition. We'll work with the staff before they transition. We will follow them once they get over there, and they may get over there for a week or two and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We have the ability to bring them back, and we can bring them back for a little bit or we can bring them back for a while. But for a lot of them, just to know that someone's watching them and someone expects them to be doing well no matter where they are, it may make all the difference in the world. We will also be able to offer sources of strength, which has come under the Project Aware umbrella. We'll collaborate with the Department of Juvenile Justice. We've worked with them a good bit in talking about an alternative plan and how what they do could assist in what we do, and what we do can assist with them. A lot of time the children have part of their punishment from the court or part of their requirements is they have to go to school. Well, they get placed at ombudsman and they can't get there. So we have lots of barriers for those students as well. So we'll work closely with them. We'll be able to offer a second step, which is another social skill type training that all students will be able to participate in. The mental health screening, like I talked about. One piece that's unprecedented as well is the parental support for the parents. A lot of the parents don't know what to do. Their child's been gotten into trouble. They've either signed a waiver or they've come here for a hearing, and all they know is my child can't go to regular school. So we just have to go over here until the time is up, and then you're going to go back to your regular school. And it's not that easy. It doesn't transition that easy. So what we want to do is give parents support and let them know as well it's not the end of the world, and we can help them. A lot of times kids come to an alternative program, their siblings end up coming eventually because it kind of becomes an okay thing. So we want to try to make a difference with the kids early on so maybe they can make a difference in the lives of their siblings at home. Also, you're familiar with our Task Force Uplift group. They will also work closely with us in working with our students. Any questions about the program itself before I move on to talk in depth? Okay.
I have questions, but I want to see what you're going to say.
Okay.
So I'll wait till the end.
Okay. The mission of the Alternative Academy is to provide a safe, supportive, and compassionate environment that promotes self-discipline and self-confidence while offering assistance to students who are transitioning to their homeschool, college, or career. The goal of the Alternative Academy is to reduce the number of students returning to an alternative setting and to provide support to non-traditional students while earning a high school diploma and acquiring skills to become successful adults. We will follow the action steps of our strategic plan for Newton County Schools. In step 1, in addition to the current grades and test scores that the students come with, reading and math pre-assessments will be administered. Data will be used to write individual learning plans. Standards-based instruction will be adapted to the grade point platform. That'll be our curriculum that we use. Step 3, weekly academic and behavior progress monitoring for all students. And right now, students in schools who are struggling, they get a little bit of that assistance and they get monitored like that. You can't monitor everyone, so we will have the benefit of monitoring everyone, and we'll know at any given moment when the kids are struggling, when it's time to change something we're doing with them. So that's going to be a huge piece of what we do, is that progress monitoring for their academics and their behavior every week. Step 4, grade point progress will be goal-driven. Goals will be set and monitored weekly. End of course and Georgia Milestone Prep will be ongoing. That's a piece that Ombudsman does not do simply because that's not part of their plan. But even though our students attend Ombudsman, they are still tested at the end of the year for their end of course test and their Georgia Milestone test. And even though they didn't attend their home school, those scores are reflected at their home school. So they haven't had the benefit of being not coached is the right word, but having tutoring, having extra help, having practiced before they take the test. So this will be huge for them as well. Step 5, RTI will be an essential piece to monitoring and transitioning our students. All staff will participate in RTI meetings. RTI meetings will be held with the homeschool prior to transition. So the vision is that our high schools and our middle schools, they'll be in and out of the center as well. Our people will be in and out of the home schools. So the students they'll know that no matter where they are, their home school is checking on them. When they're back at the home school, then the staff from the center will be checking on them. They're never just going to be left to flounder. Talking about our staff, to begin with, we'd like to start with student services kind of being the overseeing umbrella. We'll have a program leader at the school. It's not necessarily a principal, because once we begin, it's not as big as a school where you would need a principal. So we'd like to start with a program leader who will have the vision and who will be able to kind of help these teachers see, where it is we're going and get the program actually started. So this is in phase 1. We'll need a registrar, a bookkeeper, clerical person. This person will have very specific skills. They will have done those things. Of course, we'll have our teachers. We will have teachers for middle school. We'll have the 4 academic areas, language arts, social studies, math, and science. In these days, right now, a lot of people are dual certified, so we'll make every effort to bring in teachers who are regular academic teachers with a special ed add-on to their certificate, or just straight, full certificated special ed teachers to work with our students. High school, same thing. We'll have that same group of teachers. We will have 2 special ed teachers that will work with our students above and beyond. And to keep in mind, the program leader will also be considered a teacher. That person will work with children. The premise for the entire program is whoever's in the building, you are a teacher. You will work with the children. Everybody will have a responsibility to these children. We'll have a case manager. That person will manage these RTI files, make sure meetings are set, make sure that the progress monitoring is completed. Teachers will have basically a case load, and this case manager will help them with knowing when to do certain tests and when to post certain things. So if you can imagine, the teachers have the responsibility of assisting the students, all the students, and then they have a small caseload that they will be responsible for in working with the case manager and making sure that all those pieces are complete. The behavior interventionist I talked about. We'll have 2 paraprofessionals. And then the supplemental pieces, these are things that don't cost the school system anything. These are people that we will work with, which is Project Uplift, which we've already talked about, Project Aware, and Apex, which is Viewpoint Health. The budget, our facility, we have not settled on an exact place yet. We do have some very promising prospects, so I've not put an amount in there, but still we are well within our range of the money that we spend on ombudsman right now, which the money that we spend with them is $1.2 million. So the personnel, we're looking at spending $750,000. Technology, this first year for technology is going to be a lot more than it will be in future years. We're looking at $198,000. The bulk of that will be in setting up the network so that this center works under the same network that all the schools work under. Professional development, this group of teachers that we're going to have is going to be a very specific group of teachers. It's not going to be people who can come in and talk the talk. It's going to be people that we have seen walk the walk, and we know that they have the same passion for these students. This is not an easy group to always work with. This isn't always an 8 to 5 job or 8 to 3 job. Sometimes, working with difficult children, you have to meet them where they are. So there will be some professional development involved in bringing this group together to make them a cohesive team. But I think it will be money very well spent for our opening. Curriculum, we're looking at about $60,000. That's to purchase the programs that we need for the online learning and for our reading and math interventions. Furniture needs in the beginning will be about $20,000. Second year about $10,000, and then beyond that, those costs will be minimal. To get our PBIS program off the ground, we're looking at $2,200 for the first year and $1,250 for the second year. So if you look at those totals, $1,040,200, we are still well below the $1.2 million. And still we have plenty of room for the facilities that we've looked at. We still have plenty of wiggle room in our budget to cover a facility. The second year there'd be a substantial savings. Any budget questions before? The last thing is just to talk about the phases. We have long-range goals. This first phase is to establish GradPoint as a self-paced learning incorporated with soft skill training, social skill lessons and experiences, emotional counseling as needed, and work-based learning opportunities for on-track students. All students will participate in end of course and Georgia Milestone test prep, increase the attendance rate and the graduation rate, increase the pass rate on our end of course test and Georgia Milestone test, provide summer credit recovery and acceleration for a fee. That piece is for our students who, maybe 8th graders going into 9th grade, may want to take a class over the summer, and for kids who failed, who basically need to go to summer school, we would have the option to be able to offer those students those classes for a fee rather than going outside of the district to take those same classes. And this way we would have a little control over what they're actually doing to make sure that it's still in line with our state standards. Phase 2, we'd expand the program to referral students, not just students who've been placed at the program because of behavior issues. Students who are not being successful in regular schools will be allowed to apply with recommendations from the school, work with CTAE and Georgia Piedmont Technical to establish skill-based learning in addition to grad point work, open a night school for students needing credit recovery or for students who may have to work during the school day. That's a very non-traditional piece. We have a lot of those students who have to quit school because they can't go to school during the day. They're supporting children of their own or they're helping support their families. And we've learned in our poverty training that we do have a lot of students who live below the poverty level. And we've learned that those students don't function like we do. Going, 8 to 5 is not the way that they function. And so maybe night school would be an option for them to get more of our students in, to get them graduated. And then phase 3 would be continue to expand the program into a fully operational open campus facility. This facility will allow more flexibility for our students who can't adjust to normal school hours and schedules. The ultimate goal is to reach and educate the students of Newton County who may otherwise not finish school. We want these students to graduate and become successful, productive adults. And just the way we would measure our success, in year 1, we would track attendance and discipline. We would survey students, parents, and base school administrators just to get their feel on how everything was going. And we'd look at the completion rate of the courses that the students took. Of course, complete and pass those courses. Year 2, we would have those same things, and we would add the end of course pass rate, Georgia Milestones, end of grade growth rate, recidivism rate, and the graduation rate. And then year 3, we would add percentages of students working in the work-based learning participation and move on when ready participation rate. Okay, so I know you have lots of questions. Maybe? No?
Waiting on the lights.
Okay.
The cost, you said, will be around 1.2 million. Ombudsman 1.2 million. We're going to pretty close to a wash, or maybe some savings depending on other factors. But
Right.
Is the average student population around 76? I want to make sure I get my numbers right.
You mean like on any given day?
Sure.
At the beginning of a semester, your number's going to be low. By the end of the semester, where students have gotten in trouble and been sent over, you're going to be looking at about 100 high school students and about 50 to 75 middle school students.
Okay.
So really at any given moment, the most kids you would ever have over there are about 170 at a time.
Okay, so less than 0.5% of our student population.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 0.5%, yeah. And the rate per student that we would be spending would be, not all students are important,
Right.
so don't misunderstand. About twice what the current rate, is that right? Do we spend around 8,500 per student budget to
For
population?
Depending on
just
what
regular
program.
education students, yes, about between $79 and $8,400,
Right.
yes.
And so this would be around 15,000?
7,000.
Oh, I'm doing my math wrong?
Well, it's not.
1.2 divided by 76. I'm asking. I don't know. I used 76 because I thought that was the last slide was 76 students enrolled.
Right. That was like right now at this given moment. We pay Ombudsman every year for roughly 180 students.
Yeah, it's a contract.
That up to 200 students. That's
Okay.
what we're budgeted for.
That's where you're getting the different numbers.
Yes.
Okay.
Contract, right?
Yes.
That's the number.
Okay.
It's something you may make note of as well. we pay for slots that are so often not even used.
That's correct.
So that would be a savings that we'd be only paying and budgeting for what we actually have, because to my understanding of the program, it will be expanded to other needs of other students as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
For that same amount of money, we're going to be able to offer so many more services
Exactly.
to our students other than just you come in and you do your curriculum, your academic piece.
Most of which we're already paid for, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're just repurposing them at a different location?
Exactly.
Okay.
And you'll likely be able to serve even more students because you'll have three high school sessions. So more
Right.
kids will be able to come in and out. So you're talking 175 students a session. Then if you take the middle school students out after 4 hours, then maybe 100 students for the remaining time. So you really have expanded options for students that we don't currently have.
And we really want to be able to begin to reach those students who are struggling in traditional school before they get in trouble. You know, have them placed there, get them on the right road before they end up at a hearing, before they end up actually being expelled.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Are you finished?
Well, I'll just keep.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll jump in when you
Go ahead, because I got quite a few. So go
Okay.
ahead and finish yours.
Well, just in relate, like how we got here was ombudsman. How did we get to ombudsman? Was from Sharp Learning Center. What was the cost on that out to run out Sharp Learning Center?
Between $4 and $5 million.
Okay, and serviced a similar amount of students.
They
70 to
serviced a
100.
similar amount of students. There are a few more at Sharp,
Okay.
than at Ombudsman.
So I guess I'm leading now with the question to get to, if we look at it expanding, the really 1.2 million is the beginning.
Right.
We could wind up getting back to a Sharp Learning Center. I know the services are totally different.
Right,
So I
right.
don't want to make apples to apples.
Right.
But in cost, we could get similar as far as cost per
No,
student.
over the course of time, we should actually spend less money because once we have a place to have the school or the program, then we're set. It doesn't take as many teachers to manage that many children because a lot of what they do is online. They're coming and they're going. They're at different scheduled times. Because of the strategic waiver, we have the ability to allow some of them to work from home, do some virtual learning type stuff. So with fewer staff, a less amount of money, we have the potential to reach a lot more kids.
Plus, including, you mentioned that you were going to monitor the recidivism rate.
Yes.
And you would be able to track the students a lot better. You would have a case manager to track
Right.
the RTI, the response to intervention and stuff, and follow the students once they go back into the school. And so
Exactly.
you'll have a better pathway of following the students to prevent them from coming back,
Right.
returning back to the alternative program.
Right.
Which is the point, right?
Right.
Yeah, hopefully to work ourselves out of business. That would be the goal.
All right. Okay, so a couple of my questions I have to kind of set up in order to help you understand where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So first, using something that you said you want us to look at it as an alternative program versus an alternative school. So having a background in counseling and therapy and working for the state and doing child and adolescent therapy once upon a time, the unfortunate reality is that behavior issues do not start in 6th grade.
Exactly.
And even now, you can diagnose a child with something like bipolar disorder as early as 7. When I was completing my master's degree in counseling and psychology, looking at that and seeing that we do have 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, we've always had middle school. And if we want to try to call this an alternative program, is there a movement down the line to look at an elementary-based program? Those kids that don't qualify for mainstay, but certainly need this, because you talk about, or you mentioned that you want to prevent them, you want to get them before they get to that rate where they're going to the alternative program.
Right.
Well, in order to do that, we can't wait to middle school.
Right. And we have had conversations about that in the midst of all the conversations we've had. With our Project Uplift group, they work with those students in the elementary level right now. We have our Project Aware universal screening, which is coming to more and more of our elementary schools. So we do have things in place to help identify those students who may have those bipolar type things that may not be noticed until they get to middle school. So we do have things in place for right now, but down the road, I mean, it would be phenomenal to be able to address the needs of those students in a setting like this.
Yeah, I want you guys to keep that in mind, because if you wait at 7, let's just focus on 7. When I did CNA, I had calls as early as kids age of 7, suicide and homicide ideation. And so if you wait until they're 13, it's too late.
Right.
Those behaviors are now habitual. So it's hard to break that pattern and to intervene. So keep that in your thoughts. Okay, my next question is, how easy will the resources be for both the parents and the students? When you talk about Apex, looking at Viewpoint Health, how often will the clinicians be in the building?
With Viewpoint Health, the clinician will have an actual office in our building and will be in our office. Could be as much as 5 days a week, probably will be 3 days a week, because of the amount of time that they're going to spend at the homes, because this particular program involves them working in the homes, working different hours, so which they have to go there at night when the parents are at home. But they would spend probably at least 3 days a week in the building, working with the students.
Do you know what type of programs they'll be doing with the parents, or what type of interventions? Or
I do not, but Mr. Chad Jones, who is over the Apex piece of that, he would be more than welcome to come willing to come and speak to share those pieces of that particular program. And there are only 2 other systems, or we would be the second system in the state who would be able to do this. This is a new piece to their grant.
Okay.
That they were able to offer us.
Okay, and then you also mentioned about black males, but you didn't go in depth in some of the programs that you had in mind in concerns with like the black male population. You talked a lot about the soft skills, the social skills, the emotional behavior skills, and just being on my side and doing tribunal hearings and stuff like that. There was no mention of what kind of gang intervention programs there will be. And so we can talk about soft skills, we can talk about emotional and all those, but none of those intervene on gang. So what evidence-based programs or will there be? Because I didn't see that on the slide.
Right. Second Step addresses those gang type things a little bit, a small bit.
A small bit.
And the beauty of this program is once we're established and our students come to us and those particular things are recognized, then we can reach out to the law enforcement community, to juvenile justice, to our social workers, and find the programs that fit these children. That, to me, it's hard to say this is exactly what we're going to do, because everything will be so individualized for each student. And, for a lot of the kids that are in gangs, sometimes it's just that one-on-one relationship with another person that can draw them away some. And then the role models of those students, of our students who are not in gangs, they become role models for our other students. So it will be a fluid program where we were always searching and looking and meeting every student's needs.
I would like to see some type of maybe the Phoenix. The Phoenix is an evidence-based program. MI, motivational interviewing, MIT. I would like to see some type of evidence-based program that's going to attack the gang issue and the drug issue with our students. Because if we really want to make this work, we got to attack the reason why some of the students are over there. And and it's more than just social emotional behavior issues. Let's see.
Let me comment on that particular concern that you have as it relates to the gang activity. I heard you say you was partnership with other groups in the community. So that would be a good way of doing that, because they need that prior to even getting into trouble, number one. And number two, there needs to be some type of a base to help educate the parents
absolutely.
As to what to look for gang activity. So I think that we can play a indirect role, but a direct role need to be played by some other entities within our county.
Right, I agree. And this gives us a platform, gives us a facility to bring these parents in, strategically bring in the parents who need to hear this. And part of the program is, when parents come in to do certain things, their students will earn points for other things. So, the students are going to encourage their parents to be there. Project Aware has a lot of evening and Saturday type trainings that they can do with our parents. And they're forever adding programs as the grant grows. So we have lots of resources that we can pull on.
Let me ask you this as well.
Okay.
Do have y'all come up with some indicators of students who have not gotten into trouble to identify them, and then have conferences with the parents to make them aware of some things that you've seen
Right.
in the children, and to educate them what programs we have available for them to go through, and maybe that way we can probably cut off some of the ones who are having to
Right.
attend that school.
And that would be an ultimate goal. In our schools right now, we have RTI and PBIS, which are merging. So where we work so hard with our children on the academics, your child is struggling in reading, your child is struggling in math, we now take the students who have more than 2 or 3 referrals, and they go into that process. They have RTI meetings on those students. They meet with those parents and say, these are the things that are available. This is what we need to do. And that's just beginning. We're just on the cusp of that. So combining that with what we want to do, the possibilities are endless.
Okay.
Cool. Yes, another question?
Okay, so my other question is, I may have 2 more, depending on how you answer.
Okay.
So one question is about like the counselor or in relation to the parents. So the counselor is on site, right? This is not a shared counselor with
Correct.
another. Okay, so the parents will have easy access for asking questions, scheduling, and stuff like that.
That's correct.
If the parents need to set up a conference or email, the turnaround time will be instant.
It will be very instant, yes.
Okay. So then my last question is, what will be done in terms of scheduling the staff during low enrollment times? Are these 0.5 positions or full-time positions? And the reason why I ask is because our enrollment in the alternative program does vary depending on if you're at the beginning of the school year or the end of the school year and stuff. And so like right now we have 3, 8, 11, 12, 16, 7, and 1 in terms of enrollment 6 through 12. So are these 0.5 positions are full? Are they flexible? So if you have a schedule where it's only 2 students, what will the rest of the teachers be doing?
Well, we will be a skeletal staff to begin with. We have budgeted more money than we would need in the very beginning for personnel, so that we can add them as the program grows. But it grows very quickly. You add several students a week, and before you know it, you're at capacity. And so we want our staff to be there, to be a cohesive group, to be trained, to be ready, so that when the students do come in, and so you have to imagine when you're at full capacity, you get to an end of semester and you're at full capacity, you are, spending a lot of time on those students, and then you change semesters and you just have that little bit of a window. So you can think of it as almost maybe like a planning time for these students to for these teachers in order to get ready. Okay, this is what we've done. What are we going to do next? But I assure you they'll always be busy. There won't be a lot. There won't be any, we're sitting around because we don't have any children.
Okay, one last question. So you said it'll have to be a special teacher or when looking for these, and I guess maybe you can't answer this one yet, but so I like to call this population at risk and at promise versus difficult, because I have a special heart for this population. It's something I enjoy doing. But so the teachers that we once upon a time ripped, who was at Sharp, some of them remained in our school system and got jobs in our school system, and they may have a passion working for these at-risk, at-promise students. So how will they have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm interested in doing this, or are we just opening up to everyone?
In the beginning, we haven't even gotten to this point as far as how we're going to hire, but it has to be those people that have the special heart. It could be, from recommendations. It could be from work they've done in the past. That's something that we have to work out human resource wise for, how to do that. But we just don't want to bring people in who are looking to not write lesson plans and not stand up in front of the class,
absolutely.
55 minutes 4 times a day. It's a very special individual that we're looking for.
Okay. Thank you. Any other board members have any questions?
I have a comment and a couple of questions, please. You said you're going to reassess the students in math and reading. Expand that, please, because I get the impression that you don't trust the existing assessment that they're coming over there with.
No, and when children have reached middle school and high school, they get into their academic classes, and so they're not always assessed frequently like they were in elementary school to see where their reading level was or where their math level was. So we'll give them an initial screening when they come in to see where their reading and math level is. And then that's the way we'll progress monitor, is using our own screening, because it's very difficult to use another screening while we're progress monitoring doing our things. It doesn't match up. So basically it's just so that our data lines up. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I applaud the bullet items that you had up here, which I think will address several of the questions that was asked earlier. And you have one, AP support, which is, to my opinion, is not that great as it exists in Ombudsman now.
Correct.
The students lose out, period. The behavior intervention, that, once it's developed, I think will answer a lot of the questions that's been asked earlier once it's fully developed.
Yes, sir.
And the next one is parental support, as you mentioned. You mentioned in the question that before. Once that is engaged and we got our program fully developed, I think it will go a long way in answering and better answering the questions that were raised earlier.
Yes, sir.
And I'll hold off. I'm very impressed at the depth of the planning here. I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
I have one more question. On the grad point, that is set in stone that you'll be using that program.
The reason that we're going to use it is because it's used in the high schools, so it would be a seamless transition for the kids to come over and to go back to school. That way there's not any, well, we did this over here, now we can't do it over there. And they offer all the classes that a child could possibly ever take.
Okay. I think that's all of my questions.
Okay.
I just want y'all to take in consideration some of the things I said. Sorry, I have a special passion for this population, and so if we're going to do it, I want it to be done right.
Well, and we feel the same way. Thank you.
One other follow-up, if my
Go ahead.
transportation. You're going to the third schedule. How will that impact transportation?
The third schedule will be a volunteer basis. It will be for the kids that probably who drive, or the kids that their parents can get them there. That will not be a piece of their required time to be there. And so if they can't get there, when the bus is coming, then they do have the option to come on that third schedule. So it's for the kids for when they can't get there, then they have that second option in a day.
Almost like a makeup class, so to speak.
Right. So they'll have their scheduled time to come, but if they can't make it then they can sign up for that optional time.
With supported transportation?
The third block will not be supported by transportation, because we'll still have to do the middle school and the 2 high school routes that they do. We believe that it will work because it is an option for them to come. They're going to want to, when they're coming to that session, they're coming because they want to, and they can typically get there, but not to say that there aren't out of the box ways to get them there as well.
Okay, thank you.
I think most of my questions have been answered, but I just want to applaud y'all all for working so hard and trying to come up with a new idea, because I know we do miss some children or some students in our school system, and I think this is a step in the right direction, definitely.
Thank you.
I'd like to ditto what everybody said about your efforts in making this successful. We have absorbed a lot of information, and we're not going to take action tonight on this particular item. So what I would like for everybody to do is to take this information and look over it and process it, so we can be able to make a decision at our next board meeting. Okay?
Thank you all for listening this evening. Again, just to echo what's been said, we want to commend, there have been a lot of people in this room and beyond who've worked in trying to get this far. Amy Cumming has spearheaded the effort. So again, we definitely want to applaud her and the entire team for pulling all of this together. In summation, we now have given you the information about what we want to do first. In the very near future, we're going to bring an action item to you about this, so that'll give you some time to think, to ask questions for us to discuss further. The benefit of what we have here for virtually the same cost that we're currently spending with Ombudsman, which is a private entity in which we cannot directly change their programming, we would now have it again in-house and be able to customize it to do the things that were mentioned before just the way we need to. You heard a lot of information this evening. It's not quote unquote set in stone. It is a design that we're putting together with your feedback and with the feedback of the team. So again, working together, I believe that we can create something that's really going to benefit the students in Newton County.
Thank you. Ms. Cummings, do you have any of the people that work with you on this project present?
All the directors
Everybody stand up.
Yeah. You know, and it's in conversation with lots of people, so I think that is fair. And I've had conversations with you about this program. If you would just stand up, I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
This has been a culmination of lots of conversations, lots of work. I just got to be the one to stand here and tell it to you, so it's everybody's work for sure.
Again, we're spending some time on this topic, but you see a lot of school-based administration out here. They're here because they support the program, and they know the positives and negatives of where we currently are and where we have been, and we think that we can create something that'll be a little bit more beneficial for our students.
Again, thank you all for your efforts, and we do listen because we want the best for our children.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Old business, we have none. New business under item A. Spar?
In item A, good evening. In item A, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for diesel fuel and unleaded gasoline awarded to Petroleum Traders Corporation of Fort Wayne, Indiana, be renewed for an additional contract term. The effective date will be February 27, 2017, and the expiration date will be February 26, 2018. The pricing in the contract is tied to the OPIS same-day contract average gross 10 a.m., which is the most widely used daily rack price benchmark in the industry. The markups offered by the company are there for your review. The estimated contract value is $600,000, and these costs will be paid for with budgeted general funds. And that is item A for your consideration.
Okay, having heard the items presented under item A, I need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Ms. Baker. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman, board members. Ms. Cummings stepped out. I was going to let her do this. She did such a good job. I was going to let her do mine. I'll go ahead and do it. Superintendent recommends the annual renewable contract for grounds and athletic fields care and maintenance awarded to Rupert Landscape of Lilburn, Georgia, be renewed for an additional contract term. The effective date will be March 1st, 2017, and the expiration date will be February 28th, 2018. The request for proposals for a one-year contract for grounds and athletic field maintenance was opened January 27th, 2016. The RFP process was chosen because this procurement method allows officials to identify the best value by using weighted criteria and price rather than price alone. The solicitation prescribes a turnkey solution, including mowing, playground, landscaping, mulch, trimming, chemical applications to the athletic fields. After review, it was determined that the proposal submitted by Rupert Landscape offered the best value to the school system. The estimated contract value is $398,688, and this is budgeted out of general funds.
Okay, having heard the items presented under item B, I need a motion to approve, please.
I have a question.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now, discussions or concerns?
The bid is, I can't get to the system.
Yeah, our computer went down.
Yeah, our
We
computer.
can't pull
We
anything
can't
up.
pull anything up.
But I can ask the question.
Yes, sir.
The person that was awarded the bid, the company,
Yes, sir.
how many years have they been on this contract?
They've just completed their first year.
They just completed? Okay, that was
Yes,
my
sir.
question. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Oh, mine is working.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay.
I'm good. Over here, Mr. Johnson.
It's both of ours.
Mr. Coggins.
We sit here long enough, I'll have some questions.
I was just thinking that, sir.
Is it the same company that
It
does
is.
the, okay.
It is, yes, sir.
It does all the schools?
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on this particular item. We had a motion, and we had a second, and we had discussion. So all in favor of item B, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same, motion carries.
Thank you.
I guess I have to log out, Lauren.
Mine stopped working a long time ago. If his is working, you can go ahead. I've
Yeah.
read it. I think I can make mine.
Yeah, because mine not work, but I got.
Yeah, but,
we
so
can
go
move
ahead.
yeah.
Don't wait
Go
on
ahead.
me.
And
Okay, item C, yes, sir.
Item C, the superintendent recommends the identified items
See, it goes
be
to.
declared surplus and disposed of per board policy DO. And that concludes
I know my
item C.
law. I mean my password.
Okay, having heard items presented under item C, need a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion by Ms. Baker, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any concerns or questions? Having none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion, all opposed, same. Motion carries. Item D, which is an item that Newton County Board of Education has done a resolution to do a increase of board members' compensation. So at this time, I'd like to read the resolution. And it reads as follows. Whereas we know it is never popular to increase salaries of elected officials, it is sometimes necessary to ensure that the quality leaders who are willing to vie for these positions, and whereas the Newton County Board of Education has not received an increase in compensation since 1991, making it one of the lowest paid elected bodies in Newton County and the metro region. And whereas, although the compensation has not changed in the last 26 years, the duties and responsibilities of the board have increased dramatically. In 1991, the Newton County school system enrollment was approximately 8,000 students. In 2001, student enrollment was approximately 12,500, with an approximately budget of $66 million. In 2017, the Newton County Board of Education, the school system enrolled approximately 19,700 with an approximately budget of $182 million. Whereas, we all knew the salaries before we ran for the position, but at some point we have to address the compensation for the sake of future board members and to guarantee quality service to the school system. Be it resolved that after due study of the consideration, the Newton County Board of Education is requesting that the Newton County Legislative Delegation support and submit local legislation for the 2017 General Assembly to increase board remuneration of from $600 to $1,000 per month. So having read this resolution, I need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Coggins. Do I have a motion second?
Second.
Okay, a second by Mr. Johnson. Ready for questions or concerns?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
being a new member of this board, I believe that it'd be appropriate for me to commend the 4 board members and the superintendent for making great strides forward in education for Newton County in recent years. And Mr. Chairman, you and the board have increased compensation and benefits for all system employees, and all the while, your compensation has remained static for 26 years. From 1991 to 2017, the school system has grown along with the number of hours needed to satisfactorily fulfill the obligation of a board member. Therefore, I do believe that it is a reasonable consideration of a salary increase. However, honestly, I have wrestled with how the amount in this resolution was determined. At first, I don't enjoy any system where one must write a resolution requesting their own raise. Maybe there's nothing we can do to rectify that situation, but if there is a solution, I would love to entertain that. Secondly, I know how much research you guys have done or has been done to find a comparable school system, and the compensation increase was, I think, based on similar school systems in size. But I wonder if there's a better way to maybe fix the compensation to student enrollment or some other similar measurement. In order to do that, we would need a little more time to find and develop that formula. I believe an adequate solution to this compensation issue is to tie it to student enrollment. Personally, I think that would be a good measure. There's certainly some formulas we'd have to work out to try to get that, something that works for everyone. But rather than just compare systems, I believe that if we start now comparing systems, and if this is indeed an effort to look into the future, if this is for future board members, things like that, we'll always be looking at school X or school system Y. One will be higher, one will be lower, and we'll constantly be in flux whenever, maybe in the next 26 years when it comes up again, if anyone has the nerve to do that. But I think it could, if we were to do that, tie it to some sort of fixed, or at least to some figure that we can then base it off of. Similar to the Board of Commissioners is based 20% of the sheriff's salary. That seems to make sense, at least to the public and to the way I'm trying to figure the math out. Anyway, it would certainly remove any opportunity or just perception of any kind of self-serving resolutions. Now, I would go on the record to say I know this is not a self-serving issue for any of these board members. It's 26 years since there's been any kind of increase, and I think and if you look at the actual numbers of the increase, it is not significant. No one goes into public service to get rich, certainly not on the Board of Education. So anyway, I'd like to reiterate my position that I fully support the board. I believe that we have a great working relationship, and then Chairman, you've been gracious and transparent and very patient with me as I've been learning the processes. And I know this board operates with the best interest of students, teachers, and all Newton County system employees, and the good people of Newton County. So I just wanted to get my thoughts out there.
Thank you.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that we need to set up a system that would trigger something to that extent, just for future board members. I think what this resolution does is get us to the bottom of the similar systems around us, and we're still we will still be one of the lowest. Compensated around. But also an idea excuse me, an idea is we've all pledged to make a donation to the book bus. Yes. And I think that, if any of us have any concerns about taking this increase, and like I said, it's not much, but it's a start. I think we can make a donation to the Newton Education Foundation for the book bus, and also just where it will go straight back to the students. So I think that's something we can all agree to do, since we've already made that pledge in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to come on the tail end of some of the things that Abigail said. She said that we did look at systems that were similar to us in student makeup, and even looking at the systems similar to us with similar makeup, we still took the lower end and said, let's go under what they're getting, because we're not out to we're all public servants. We're not out to, just get, like some people, get an increase, But at the same time, you do want to ensure that the people who will run for office or run for these seats are quality people. And right now, this is the lowest, and you pay to run based on what you're compensated. So in Newton County, period, this is the lowest position to run for. And when I say that, I mean it costs the cheapest. So basically, anybody can jump in the race. And I hate to say it that way, but it's true. And so you want to ensure that when people are jumping in the race and going to sit up here and they're going to fight for quality education, they're going to ask the right questions and not just sit and collect, a check, that they're going to have a genuine concern, going back to our mission statement, that excellence for all students. You want to ensure that that person is really here for that reason. And that's why we took, again, the lower end of that. So,
well, again, like I said, we did a lot of research, and you mentioned about tying in.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know how my head goes, so I have to get it out while I'm thinking. And this is nowhere near some of the things that we do. And I'll give you an example of my, and I'm very transparent. And that's one thing I want to commend about this board. We have always been very transparent with the community, with the public. We put everything out there. Some people mix up the words and make it seem like it's something more than what it is, but it's not. But just to give you my schedule alone, let me just kind of paint that picture. So this week I read at Porterdale yesterday. I'm here tonight. Last week I spoke at the theme school. I was the speaker for the junior beta. The week before I spoke at NCCA for their workforce program. I'm missing somewhere that I was at too.
We had hearings that we participated in.
Hearings, but I was at somebody else's school too, and I don't even remember whose school I was at. But that's just in a 2-week time frame. And so nowhere do I do this for this amount. This amount does not even get to the fact that I'm here, there, everywhere across the county. That's not the purpose. It's to ensure that quality is up here. Mm-hmm. So.
And I guess, in the process of trying to evaluate and figure out a fair amount to compensate people, as Ms. Baker mentioned, we took the low end, and you mentioned about tying it into a percentage of,
and it's not a little bit under
salary that the sheriff makes. What we're asking is way below that.
Right. Oh, I understand.
So it's my opinion, if we can get this done and get it to where it needs to be at $1,000 a month, then we can look at putting something in there where it will trigger what you're talking about, and that we want to, it will automatically happen. But at some point, we need to bring it up to standards. Right now, it's not. And I understand that we may have some, people that may be opposed to it, just like any other decisions that we have to make. And that's one thing that I knew that I would have the responsibility of doing, is making tough decisions when I was elected. And oftentimes I have to make decisions what's best for the majority of the folk. And I've had conversations with a number of people ever since I got into this office who asked the question about, what do y'all get paid? And when I give them the answer, they go like, man, I wouldn't do that for that.
That's exactly it.
Exactly. So it's not a thing that we're being greedy. I'm not being greedy at all. But I just, it's just something that we just need to do. It's been neglected long enough.
And I want to reiterate that I do believe it is time for some sort of increase in compensation. So I don't want to sound like,
oh yeah, I understand.
I'm saying no to that. For it to be tied to something that does trigger this to happen again without a board, the next board or whomever, having to ask for their own raise. And again, if there's a way around that, I'd love to explore what that could be. And if it's about the future and not tomorrow, it doesn't have to go into effect tomorrow. I think we could buy some time and figure out what that could be for this increase, and go ahead and have that in place now, rather than wait to put this increase into effect and then figure out a new plan for the future. Seems like we're really getting backwards. If we're looking to get it done right for the future, let's do that right the first time now, and then make that a part of the resolution rather than as it reads now.
My only concern with that, Matt.
Sure, go ahead.
My only concern with that, Trey, is that it's going to be more than this amount.
Well, we don't know that though.
Oh, it's going to be more.
It's going to be more.
But we haven't figured out
Because
any
you
kind
have
of percentage or anything yet.
There's
so we can't-
legislation set in place that you can only do things certain ways, and if you tie it into how the commissioners and
yeah.
all the other entities that run for elected officers a certain percentage, and it's going to be more than that.
Even if you look at a system with the same amount of schools and the same student population, it's going to be way more than that. So that's my concern. It's going to be more than what we're asking.
So I had rather, since we have this on the table and time is of essence, that we bring it up to what we're asking for is to do this and then allow a mechanism in place to trigger it next time if we so desire, because I don't think it needs to go up to some astronomical figure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Neither
wanna
do
that.
Well,
Because it would be like over 50%. I'm just thinking of one county by itself. It would be over 50% of what we make, and I don't want to do that.
Right. No, I don't want to make some kind of crazy jump that's...
Well, I think what we need to clarify is the reason why it's on here is because this has to be approved by the our local legislators currently in session. And so it's got to go before the, and I may be confused on here, but the House by a certain date.
Exactly.
So if we're going to even move forward, we would end up having to wait till next year at the earliest. And I think this just gets us to that base rate, and then we can go in, because I think, I know a lot of work has already been done, but I'm like, y'all, I don't want to just attach a percentage to it and it jump sky high. I think that's going against it. So I would like to participate in more of those, gather up some more information of my own and figure out a way, because, honestly, 20% of a certain salary are based on how many years experience, things like that.
Yeah,
I don't,
get into that.
There's got to be a better way. And I know there's so many local counties surrounding us, their Board of Education has triggers like that set in place. And I'm just not sure how I feel about those. So, like I said, I would like for us to at least get to a certain rate now, a standard, a base, and then moving with, maybe we need to redo the resolution and add something in there. I doubt that's really the case, but just to say that we are going to set something in place for the future going forward,
Well, what we
to
can do,
establish a protocol.
Right, if we establish this, and if it's the board's desire, to get this resolution passed, and then we work on another resolution to do a trigger point if we find that it's not going to exceed what we want. Because I don't want to get into a thing of percentage and it ends up, a lot more.
I like that way, because it is, like I said, it's going to be more.
Exactly.
And so I like doing it that way, what you said, just because I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, like, I'm not out to, like, go from, 6 to 16, just to give an example.
Right.
That's,
But we need
That
to,
doesn't
we
sit
have to,
well with
on a
me.
resolution, I'm asking a question, I'm not sure if this is out of line, but on a resolution, we need to act as one unit, as one board, correct?
Yes.
Not a vote of,
Right.
would that be in the
We
case
present it to the legislative committee.
as one body?
Right, and then they will have to approve it.
Then I'd like to move to postpone the motion until the April 25th meeting.
Is that?
That's the legislature will be over.
Yeah, they got to meet in session.
March.
And we have to do it before, like, the 33rd day or
Right.
whatever it is. So they're on a timeline if we want to get this done anytime this year.
They
If
cut
not,
2
we just have to
days.
We'd be
post
looking
it.
at fiscal 19. If we didn't hit that
Oh,
deadline.
it'd be
we'd
2
look at-
years from now,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 years from now.
If we waited till next year
Right.
to present it to the legislature, it would be two years from now.
So that
Okay.
if we did approve this resolution now, that would give us 2 years to put together something to trigger if that's what we want to do. Because if we end up saying like, whoa, that's not gonna work, because we're not gonna ask for that kind of money. And there's some rules and guidelines that you have to go by.
Okay.
And that's the unfortunate part of this,
Exactly.
is that we're on their timeline, and we have to go through the
Okay.
House
Well-
and Senate.
March 30th is the last day of the legislation, of the general session.
But it
excuse me.
has to be there
Have
before
to be there
crossover.
before, for what they
Has
call.
to be there
Before crossover.
Before crossover.
Committee,
Right.
the
It's got to
sanitary
go through the
committee?
committee before that.
Okay, so I can, if I try to move to postpone the motion until an April 25th meeting, it's not even this motion anymore. This
No,
motion becomes
it's,
null.
we wouldn't be able to make anything till next year. It would not work. And even now, based on the crossover day, from what I understand, is if we don't make a move tonight, we'll have to have a special called meeting between now to get it on their legislative agenda before the crossover date. So that's the unfortunate part of this, is it's got to be done. If we're gonna make one, if not, it'll be 2 years before anything gets enacted.
The process is always going to force you to
Yeah.
write a resolution to, whether you have a trigger point or not, you're always going to write a resolution for yourselves because the process requires it. Now, the trigger point will help us in that it will help us more closely look at it because, in my opinion, 26 years is very long to wait to examine a compensation. And so here we are 26 years later with the compensation
I
piece.
was Trey was too. We were
You guys
juniors
were
in
in
high school.
high school.
The last time this was looked at. So
So you're because of the legislative process, irrespective of the trigger, you're still going to have to go through the same process,
Exactly.
writing resolutions that feel self-serving, when in fact they're serving community because of the things that Ms. Henderson Baker mentioned. You will have to go through the same exact process. So I don't know if that clarifies or helps, but the process itself on that piece will remain the same.
Right. Yeah, could be a trigger point, still have to write the resolution.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta ask for your own
And
raise.
it's
Yes,
still, and
no
it's
way
always
around
going to be
it.
unpopular, forever and ever, amen. Anytime an elected official requests an increase in remuneration, it is not popular. That's just the bottom line. In this case, however, 26 years is a long time to re-examine, given an 8,000 student enrollment, a budget of roughly 33 million. And then here we are in 2017 with enrollment just under 20,000 and a budget of $182 million. And the advent of social media and Facebook and email and all of those pieces that are demanding on the time of all the board members has not been considered in 26 years, and wasn't considered in 2001 when enrollment was 12,000. And so this is, again, it's not popular, and I know it doesn't feel good to anybody, any of the five of you. But I think for the future of the school system, to ensure the service that we need to provide when you all are not here and when I'm not here, we need to have a strong, healthy board who's committed to the educational process of students. And I think that you are positioning as a board the district to move forward. Just as an outsider's opinion, I don't have a dog in this fight. However, I do understand and can see that there should have been a trigger about 20 years ago, and unfortunately, it just didn't exist. And so, no time like the present. And I completely understand how all five of you feel with regard to having to write a resolution to pay yourselves is sort of ridiculous, but it is what it
That's
is.
what it
And it
is.
does not come out of Newton County tax, out of
It's out of
the
the
Newton County
general
tax
fund
statutes.
budget,
Right.
yes. Yeah. So,
Well, my apologies to the board for waiting till tonight to have,
No.
try to figure out
That's
a
what it
new
is.
plan, but
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
being
and I think
that's-
transparent.
Right, I
Yes.
think that's speak
A bottom
volumes
line.
for this board. That's what we've always tried to do, is be transparent.
And I'll be honest, we brought this subject up, I mean, since I've been on the board on several other times, and we've just said, no, we don't need to.
Right.
But now that we have managed to get our teachers to where they need to be, not just our teachers, all employees.
All employees.
We're
right.
almost there,
Yes.
and I think, one more fiscal year, and we should, that's the
When-
plan.
That's correct. When when and if this resolution and legislative piece goes through, at the same time, it will be implemented in fiscal year 18, at which point, if the governor's budget is passed, there will be a 2% included, which will be passed through to the teachers, and it also includes school nurses, and I believe one other classification of employees. We'll search, looking through the budget to make sure that all employees are compensated, and the goal has been, since the recession, to restore all employees to where they would have been in 2009 had there not been a recession, following that same pathway, because our teachers and leaders were held steady at that one space for a long period of time, and we are, with the 2% that the governor is placing, we will have exceeded that goal. But because the boat is rising, all of us are moving up, we will have to continue to look at an additional percentage to continue to be competitive, because we are now competitive with teacher pay and benefits. So we're headed in the right direction. And with FY18, we should be in very good shape.
And I think that's something I would just like to commend the staff here at the school system and the board members for working together to try to make sure that we are very wise in our spendings. And I think that has contributed to the fact that when we give these raises, they've been sustainable, but we didn't have to take them back, as well as furlough days. So I'd like to thank all you, the board members and the staff for your hard work in doing this.
Well, if I may, Mr. Chairman, one of the things that the board said, and I remember having been an employee of the system for approximately 17 years, that when the recession took place, all of us as school system employees felt the effects in our salaries and in our benefits. And one of the things that this board, comprised of different people in and out, said was, as soon as there was recovery, the dollar should be restored to staff members. And this board has been true to that commitment and has been doing so since fiscal year 14, and has restored roughly $17 million worth of employee salary and benefit that it has to be sustained year after year after year. And with the addition of the 2% and then an additional increase, it will be upwards of $20 million. At the height of the recession, you cut as a board over $27 million in employees and benefits and the whole host. So if you consider that at the beginning of FY18, you will likely be at $20 million. You have restored a tremendous amount of resources to all of our staff members, not just certificated staff, but bus drivers and custodians. In addition to that, you commissioned a salary study, and in doing so, we rectified many issues within and among the salary schedules that we were using, and the placement of our classified staff on their own salary schedule, and that all has been rectified. And all of those pieces require sustaining budget items, and so you've done those things. So if there's one thing that the community can know about this board, is that you are committed to taking care of the employees of the school district, and I think the employees know that.
And can I note that it's not just the teachers,
No.
which are very important, but it's all the employees.
Yes.
Correct.
And I think you have a bunch of them in the group here, probably nodding their heads. They have appreciated being taken care of. And I certainly have appreciated being able to work with you together.
I'd like to also say one more thing. I know it's late. My kids are back there. I'm like,
Yeah,
Mom.
mine are texting.
But and keep in mind too, Trey, a lot of people when you and I'll just use this as an example. I was at work the other day and a nurse came to interview at the office I work at, and she was like, "What are you doing here?" A lot of people think this is our full-time job. And you know they get misled, but I know I told someone what the amount was, and they was like, going back to what Alma said, oh, I didn't know that, you know. So I think sometimes, and that's why I want to be transparent with people and put the numbers out there. I think people are surprised when they see the numbers.
Any other discussions? Having none, I need a motion to approve. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, item E.
Item E, the superintendent recommends the approval of superintendent's recommendations made during the personnel session, executive session.
Okay, I need a motion to approve item E, please.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Baker and second by Mr. Bailey. Any questions or concerns? Having none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Other matters of interest, Mr. Bailey, you have anything, sir?
No, sir.
Ms. Baker, you have anything, ma'am?
Congratulations to our basketball teams.
Yes.
So
Anything else?
that's it.
You're not gonna say I got one more?
Not tonight.
Ms. Coggins?
Not now.
Okay, Mr. Johnson?
No.
Ms. Ferry?
Yes, I would like to add some information. Dr. Lockhart and the curriculum and instruction team, Dr. Schmidt, Ms. Buff, the whole group worked to study the history of the Newton County school system and came up with a plan to recognize our birthday. And so just to read some information, today, February the 7th in 1871, it was official that the Newton County Board of Education was organized before the city of Covington, which is why today is our official NCSS birthday. Dr. J.J. Deering was elected president of the board, and H.T. Shaw was elected secretary and county school commissioner, which was the superintendent in that time. Each district had one representative on the board, and there were 12 of them named in 1871. And because it is historic, I would like to call their names. Henry Twiggs, Henry L. Graves, A.J. Webb, J.J. Deering, Thomas C. Davis, J.W. Smith, L.S. Mann, E.L. Thomas, Henry Gaither, Asbury Mixon, T.W. Merriweather, and L.M. Brown. And in 2017, our elected board is made up of 5 members who represent 5 districts, and they sit before you this evening. The Newton County school system is 146 years old today. We've come a long way in 146 years, but much work remains to be done. It's critical to the lives of our students that we provide them with 21st century learning experiences that prepare them for the tremendous possibilities of the future. I know you all join me in the celebration of our school system as we continue the quest for excellence that began 146 years ago. Check out our Twitter feed using the hashtag founding, the number 2, founding to future, to see all the fantastic work that was taking place during the school day in recognition of our birthday. So happy birthday to the Newton County school system. In addition to that, as you all know, we have a poverty initiative that we are working on, and I would like to extend an invitation to anyone who would wish to join us on February the 14th for a poverty awareness session at Newton College and Career Academy beginning at 10 a.m. on the 14th, where we will discuss the need for our community to support students and families impacted by poverty and begin to create a poverty-informed community. And there will be another session on March the 3rd as well, same time and location. So with that being said, that is all I have to offer this evening.
I do have one more. I'm sorry, I forgot all night. Our legislative site visit is scheduled for February 21st. So you guys know I'm the legislative liaison for the board. But if anybody would like to join me under the Gold Dome, you are more than welcome to. So it's February 21st, only that morning hour. So if you want to come along, let me know.
Okay. If all minds are clear, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Coggins, second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion carried. We stand adjourned.
She was big to talk all night.
We need
It was
everybody.
9 o'clock.
We need you to sign. Everybody needs to sign.
That's what I got going around there. Yeah, I got it going around there.
You all right? You doing good? I haven't seen you in a little while. Was it? Yes. God, it feels like.
So unrecognizable.
Do we have a meeting this Friday?
No.
Okay. Thank God. Now.
Thank you.
Good night, folks.
I don't know if you could tell I was a little bit frustrated.
Putting a big old X. Thank you for y'all's patience. I do appreciate it.
Come up with one voice out of that group.
Let's put something on us.
Can we get together on one sheet of music?
What are y'all on the found?
The Newton County tomorrow. Or, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Stay busy, right?
Yeah, I took the longest ride of my life back from Houston, Texas.
I can't believe y'all did that.
You went out there?
I didn't go to the game, but yeah, I went out there and tailgated.
We drove to Dallas. That's a long trip. We stopped in Baton Rouge and spent the night.